Hello, this is Yanni and Judy, and it's so great to be with you today. And we've got some principles that we want to share with you that you can use both in your life and that you can use in your business. And welcome, Judy.
Thank you, Yanni. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here and always exciting things to share.
Yeah, and you know how this came about? I was sitting and I was reading and meditating this morning, and Judy came to me and she said, when you're done, I want to share something with you. And sometimes I say, yeah, it's fine, we can do it later, but this morning I just said, come in. I just felt it's important. So Judy came in and she started sharing some principles with me, and Judy, share with us what these principles are, and then I'll share with you how this linked in with what I was also contemplating on, and how we realized how it helps us, and that's why we're sharing it with you, so it's going to help you as well.
So Yanni forgot to tell you that was our mastermind session at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
We often like to start our day together, our mastermind and plan in. So this time it was a little bit earlier. So that was the beginning of our session.
And Judy, can I just mention there, for now, our mastermind is just Judy and I, but we're also planning to open up a mastermind soon where you can also join in, because it's so important where we share ideas with these mastermind sessions. It's just amazing to see how the things open up and how new ideas come and how we are able to put things together that I'm sure that we wouldn't have been able to put together just by ourselves.
Sounds right. Right.
Yeah.
So why this is so important is that if you're a content creator like myself, then you'd find sometimes as a content creator, you tend to do a lot of work and a lot of research and digging around and snooping in websites and checking out social media, and you kind of wonder where you're going with all of this. You know, why are you doing all these things? But as a content creator, also you do things very intuitively, and I found that in myself. I have this intuitive feeling of what to do, and when to stop. And I never really could put the pieces together why I was doing this, but at the end I did see results. But I'm so glad I found this little piece of the process. Now that sinks it into my mind of what it is that's working. And I think it'll make a lot of sense to you when you understand also what's working, so you don't get frantic when you're searching around on websites and on social media thinking you're wasting your time. Because many times you can spend like a day or 2 days searching, but you don't know really what you're searching for. And it's helpful if you know, okay, this is part of the process I must go through to get refreshed, to get new ideas. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for new ideas or new content to create, this will be helpful for you. If you are in marketing and you're looking for a different angle, then this will be a good way to start doing some research. If you're a student, you're looking for research, this will also be helpful. If you're an engineer, or if you're a scientist, or if you're an artist, this will be helpful to you, because no matter how you look at it, we are all thinking creative beings. And we're always thinking of ways to make things work better for us with what we have. So I call this creative mental flexibility. Kind of a funny name, creative mental flexibility. Because what we're doing here is showing you how the mental process works intuitively without you realizing. And this is really good for anyone who wants to develop new ideas and new concepts. So there are four pieces to the process. The first piece, and it's self-explanatory, it's called the explorer or the discoverer. The explorer is the person who's going around looking for things and trying to put pieces together. And then there is the artist. The artist picks up pieces and looks at them and thinks about them and try to form a picture breaking the rules because they're looking for new feelings, new sounds, new ideas. But sometimes you're looking for something that resonates with you inside. And then you have the third piece is the judge. The judge is the part of you that'll look at something and analyze it. And you'll be saying to yourself, well, does this fit into my content? Or does it fit into my image? Or does it fit into my blog? Am I going to use this? Am I going to have the time to do it like this? Will it resonate with the audience? How much will it cost me? How much time? So you're analyzing the process intuitively. And then you're coming to a conclusion of how you're going to take the other two and fit them together. Now, the fourth part of the puzzle, and a lot of people do have trouble here, and that's called executing the plan. And the execution is after you have formulated all the pieces, and now it's time to do something. Now, if you don't understand that you have been going through a process, looking for something, then you're not going to be able to execute it, because the warrior part is the execution of putting your whole project together and taking action on it. And sometimes we want to stop just before the warrior and thinking, oh, that was a waste of time. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it that way, it's a waste of time. You're not going to get the benefit of knowing what to do next. Because the way visionaries work is we always are looking ahead for something that's going to work for us. And again, it's intuitively. I didn't realize I was doing it, and I do it all the time. When it's winter, I'm looking for spring and summer clothes. When it's summer, I'm looking for fall and winter clothes. It's so intuitively, I don't even think about it. And then the season comes and I'm ready. And that's how you look at it. If you look at it from the perspective that you're preparing ahead for your future and keep it in mind, it's a preparation stage, then you'll understand that after the judge has done his work or her work, then you're going to be able to put it together and execute. So in a nutshell, and to summarize, I can go into a lot more details if you want. Should I go into more details?
No.
Okay, so just to summarize this, the explorer does the research. The artist turns the research into new ideas and resources. The judge evaluates and decides what to do with everything, and the warrior carries out the action plan. So that's a good summary, I think.
Yeah, that's a great summary. And you know how this tied in for me, because some time ago, I was looking for direction in some of the things that I was doing and that Judy and I are doing together. And I started digging into the Bible. Now, just a word here. We live our lives according to godly principles. Now, if you don't like that, then it's fine. But that's how we live our lives, and it's working great for us. And we're getting great results, and we are able to move forward. Now, when I started looking at this, I was looking for a strategy that, I don't want to say recipe, but a strategy that can be used by anyone that wants to use it to base their lives on, or if you have certain actions that you want to pursue, or something that you want to pursue and you want to move forward. And that's when I realized specifically there are certain people that are examples for us. Now, these examples of old, these are people that really lived. And we sometimes think, yeah, but you know what? We live in this modern society. But mankind hasn't really changed. Our circumstances have changed. But we all have been created in the image of God and in His likeness. And so the principles of old still apply today, and it will still apply 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 years from now. It's still going to apply. So what I caught on to was a man, his name is called Gideon. And you might have heard of him. If you haven't, it's fine. I'm just very briefly gonna share with you just the beginnings, because I'm gonna tie this into what you shared, Judy.
Okay.
Just like this morning, because as I was sitting with this, I was looking at Gideon's history. Where did it start, and why did it basically start? Now, the nation that he was in, the Israelites, they were under a lot of oppression. And the reason why they were under oppression is because they were disobedient to the things that they were told to do. Now, just hear a word, and this is interesting. We sometimes think when we have laws, we think those laws limit us. But those laws don't actually limit us. Those laws are actually guiding us. And when we operate within those laws, or within the constraints of those laws, that's actually when we are free. Have you ever thought about that? Because we want to throw off all constraints, and then we think we are free, but we are actually not. Because when we do that, then we find ourselves, we do things that we are not supposed to do, and that we were never supposed to do, and those things bite us. So in other words, if I think, okay, I'm not going to do anything this week, I'm just going to bum on the beach, but I've got some important things that I need to do, those things are not going to get done, and that's going to bite me in the long run. So this is what happened here as well. So when these people were on so much oppression, and they didn't have anything, they didn't have cattle, they didn't have sheep, they didn't have crops, because their enemies, there were so many of them, they would come into their territory outside of their towns, and they would just camp there. And they would send their animals in among the crops of the Israelites, and they would just destroy these crops. And their cattle and everything, I don't know what they did with them, whether they killed them, whether they took them with them, but they didn't have anything left. To the point where they really had to go and hide. They had to go and dig holes for them in the sides of the mountain, and they had to stay in caves and all these things, and they were really oppressed, and they cried out to God. They said, please, God, help us. And you know what? Then God sent someone to him, and he said to them, and he explained to them why they were in these circumstances. Now, as I'm sharing this now, listen to and see the parallels from what Judy shared with you, like the explorer. So now, this prophet came to the people and he said to them, listen guys, the reason why you are where you are in these circumstances with all this trouble is because when you look back, when you were oppressed in the past, your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, God brought them out from under that oppression with a mighty hand. He gave you a new country. He gave you a new land. You conquered these people. But there was one requisite. And he said, do not serve these other gods. Now, what does that mean? Do not go according to the principles and the laws of this new land. Stick to the stuff that I have given you. Because when you and I abide by these rules that God has given us, that means those things protect me. But when I go outside of that, I open myself up to lots of trouble. So it's not God that sent them into this oppressive state. It's actually their own choice. And that's interesting. And that's, for example, the explorer then also as you spoke about, Judy. They explored, but they explored outside of the boundaries that were set for them. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, that's very interesting.
Okay, and
then there's the consequences.
And then there's the consequences.
Getting lost.
Exactly. So, God showed them these things. So he told them why they are in these circumstances. So when you have something in your business or in your life that you realize, but I need to get out of this, or I want to get out of this because this is not good for me, and it doesn't produce anything, then these steps and these principles, follow these steps and these principles, because those are the principles that will then guide you. And then you will find, if you do this, you will find a mentor that can take you to the place where you want to go to. Now, I'm not going to go into this, but this, just after this, after everything was explained to these Israelites and say, this is why this is happening to you, but I'm going to send help to you. And then God came and he sent an angel, and this angel appeared to Gideon, and then he started walking a road with Gideon. And we're not going to talk about that today. We'll talk about that in the next show. But this is important to understand. So these principles that Judy shared, and Judy, I want you just to summarize it again, and so that we can just see how these things actually, how that guides us and how it benefits us, please.
Yeah. The explorer is the intuitive part of you. You're looking for something, but you really don't know what you're looking for. But by going around and checking and seeing what's out there, you're going to find something that resonates with you. Okay, then there's the artist side of you. The artist is the part that puts the pieces together. You're looking for feelings or sounds or images or something that, again, that resonates with where you want to be or what you want to do. And you're turning everything upside down to make a picture. Now the judge is the one who comes along also that says, okay, how can we do this? What if we do this? What will be the cost? What will be the time? Is it resonating with the market? Is the people going to understand this? Is it too new? And then you will decide and come to a conclusion. And after you've got all of these little pieces coming together, then you've got the warrior, which is the person inside of you that's ready to take the action, because now you're feeling okay, you know where you're going, and this is what you need to do. And then I just want to say this last part. Sometimes we want to make things happen before it's time, and then we miss some of these pieces, or we put them in the wrong order, and then we can't make progress because we're trying to rush, and in the rushing we don't have a clear picture where we want to go. So that's why you have to stay flexible mentally, so you know where you want to go. Yeah. And so that's the formula. That's a formula of moving forward with your content.
And if you the place where you are currently, and you have to make these decisions, if it was something that you had to address even in the past, always look for patterns. There are patterns of things that happened, like cycles.
Yes.
For example, what we discovered this morning, and it's actually a few days that this has started coming to me, I realized that approximately a year ago, there were things that happened then, and it was like a trauma experience for me. And it's almost as if that cycle wants to repeat it. And if you don't break that cycle, if you don't say, no, I'm not going to allow this to happen. Now we're moving in a different direction, so we don't make those same mistakes again, or we don't want to venture there again. So it's very important to look at the patterns and to the cycles and identify them. And then you apply these principles that Judy shared with you. So Judy shared with you the things that you can use now and move forward. And I shared with you how if you were out of line or things are not working out, there might be then a specific reason why it doesn't work out. So that you can go back and go and look, so you can break these cycles. Because we creatures of habit. And these habits, these things repeat itself. And it's not always good for us. It's good to have good habits and to apply these good habits on a consistent basis. But if it's not good habits, and if it's not good cycles, if it harms you, if it impacts your family in a negative way, or your finances in a negative way, or your business in a negative way, then deal with those things. And as I said, as we go along, I'll share more of this strategy that we can learn from Gideon and apply it in your life. We apply it in our lives. And then there's some other principles that we will also share with you.
That's great. Yeah, and I think we should just do more follow-up on mental flexibility, just because it's so habit-forming to stay with routines, and it's so habit-forming to stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And when you're not progressing, you don't always know exactly what it is that's blocking you. So the flexibility parts help you to step out of yourself and look and question and take a long range view of what's going on, so you can get over those hurdles, because there always is something that's in our way. And now even more so, because we are confronted by more changes and we don't have the time to think about these changes as much as we need to. So we just implement the first thing that comes to mind. And usually that's just a responsive action, not like olden times we used to sit down underneath the tree and look up and think.
And the last thing that I just want to leave with you, that I realized this morning, because we've got a specific project, and we've got 2 weeks that in which we have to complete this. This is our due date. And there's lots of stuff that needs to be done, and there's even more that might have to be done. So this is where these principles are so important to follow and to decide what is important now. But what I realized this morning, although we have 2 weeks, let's say it's 12 working days. And then I thought, wow, but 12 days. And then I thought, but if you take those 12 days and you work that back to hours, that is a very big difference. And then when you work those hours back to minutes, so now we've got loads of time, minute-wise.
Loads of time.
So if we, but my point is, so the numbers
Make your
are
time
greater.
count.
So let your time count.
Number your days.
Okay, so that's just the last thing that I just
Precursor
want
for the
to.
next one.
So thank you very much for being with us, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to share this with you. It's great. And thank you, Judy, for your insight.
Yes, thank you.
And remember, get someone. If you're married, get your husband or get your wife and have your mastermind in the morning, and you will see how things develop, and even your relationship, how that just strengthens and how it comes together.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Judy, again for sharing.
Welcome.
And we're looking forward to seeing you in the next show. Have an awesome day.